to look pretty good on the stat sheet. Adam Walker was rushing the kicker and may have gotten a hand on it, but the Chargers get away with one there. Despite the deflection, that kick is of 40 yards late.
There's Walker, great special teams player for the 49ers. Gets a hand on it.
Every week, Delta fly over 180 planes from Europe to America. And that calls for a little synchronized flying. Delta Airlines. Love the way we fly.
Welcome back. We're live at Joe Robbie Stadium, and Randy Cross, a big day for the 49ers, almost got bigger.
Exactly. Adam Walker almost put the knockout punch really on these guys. What the 49ers have to do is be like a heavyweight boxer. They've got a team on the ropes right now. If they get a shot like this again, offensively, defensive, special teams, you have to take advantage. You got to knock the other team out, especially the Chargers. If you don't knock the Chargers out, you let them hang around, the Chargers will begin to think they can win this game.
Okay, and the Chargers, unluckily for them, going 3 and out on that series. So it's the 49ers ball once again. Meanwhile, Jerry Rice has come back onto the field and has come back into the game.
So Rice missed a series. They iced his shoulder. Back he comes. And when Jerry was in there, the 49ers marched 59, 79, and 70 yards to their 3 scores. 2nd and 7 at the 46. 9 minutes to go in the half. 21-7, San Francisco. Young guns it to Jones, and the tight end makes the catch at the 39-yard line, and that should be enough for a first down. Let's get the update on Jerry Rice and Leslie Visser.
Al, Jerry just sat in a chair for about 5 or 10 minutes. He had tape on him, and they put some extra padding. He says he's ready to go, Al.
Okay, Jerry Rice, who, well, by the time he's finished, will not only own most regular season receiving marks, but a lot of Super Bowl records as well. He's already won 1 Super Bowl MVP award. And was hugely instrumental in another San Francisco Super Bowl victory. From the 39-yard line, broken up by Darian Gordon.
Boy, it was a good read and a good change at the line of scrimmage by Steve Young. And Rice splitting the coverage. The ball hanging just a little bit, and let's take a look now again. He drives to the inside. He's set up to the inside, and Darren Gordon completely turned around, got back into it. And the second-year man out of Stanford, first-year pick a year ago, makes a good play. And it was a good read. He spins him clear around, and Young a little slow in getting it to him.
I would have to say that when Jerry Rice spins a corner all the way around, 99 times out of 100, that's a completed pass. That ball was late getting there from Young.
2nd and 10, and he fires a slant over the middle. It's caught by Jerry Rice. They've run that play 1,000,000 times, seemingly, with probably a 90% success rate.
People, I don't think, realize how many of the 49er passes are such quick rhythm and really just 5-yard completions. All week long, the 49ers, the Chargers rather, have had a saying: 5-yard pass, 6-yard gain. They are really emphasizing emphasizing that we must make the tackle and we must make it on the spot of the reception. At times tonight they have.
On the 27-yard line, Taylor makes the catch after Young had to check off, and nice coverage there by Harper.
A perfect example of the 49er passing attack right there. It's just how many times have we seen John Taylor turn that into a big play?
Of course, it begins right there with this man, Steve Young. He reads it so well, and he's in such good sync with Mike Shanahan, the offensive coordinator, who is now so thoroughly familiar with this offense and what Young can do. But make no mistake about it, this is Steve Young's team. He even admitted it down here this year. This is my team. But he is so good at the reads, coming off one receiver, finding the next one.
Leading the league in passing for a 4th consecutive season. 2nd and 6. Rolling left. Oh, what a move by Jerry Rice again. Takes it to the 15-yard line. That's a first down. Ran around Griggs.
And what presence, too. He knew he went right into the turf, avoided taking another shot, but he also knew he had the first down.
That was a 5-yard pass, but it was not a 6-yard gain.
Little rollout now on the part of Steve Young as he floats out to the left. Rice with a lot of presence, knowing where he had to get for the first down.
And a little moisture for the first time tonight.
Well, it's late in arriving. It has been predicted all day. It was raining on the west coast of Florida 4 or 5 hours ago, and they thought it would get here before now.
Here's Floyd. And the rookie pulls his way down to the 9-yard line. He's tackled there by Junior Seau and Stanley Richard.
Floyd came out of as a #1 draft pick from Florida State, rated as one of the best blockers in the collegiate game, but he also had rushed for well over 300 yards. We saw him catch a touchdown pass earlier.
Well, Floyd has added such a dimension to this San Francisco offense. He brings a punishing running style and a power between the tackles that's such a huge addition to their offense.
2nd and 4 from the 9-yard line. Ricky Waters fights his way down to the 8-yard line. He's wrapped up there by Chris Mims.
The two, Floyd and Ricky Waters, have complemented each other so much. They're like a cheering squad for each other. When you talk with them, they're so they want the other to do so well, and yet they're the kind of player that wants the football all the time.
Well, Ricky was just delighted to find a teammate who's as hyper as he is.
I was talking around it. I mean, you don't.
Well, let's face it.
I was trying to say that.
At times, Ricky Waters has been over-exuberant on the football field. He's cost his team. But this man loves to play. He loves to win. And look at it. He wears his emotions on his sleeve. George Seifert has had to reel him in at times, but Ricky Waters can play the game of football. He's a fine all-around back.
And it was William Floyd who brought his head coach into the 90s, so to speak, in the Detroit game, game number 5.
49ers take a timeout here preparatory to a 3rd and 3 from the 8.
Game number 5, the Detroit game. It was Floyd who got the touchdown. He gave it a dance for a rookie, and Seifert had words with me. Said, "Come on, coach, this is the 90s."
Goodyear blimp Stars and Stripes, based in nearby Pompano Beach, floating above Joe Robbie Stadium, which opened in 1987, was the vision and was named after the late owner of the Dolphins, Joe Robbie. After so many years at the Orange Bowl, they moved up here, and it's now not only the home of the Dolphins, but the Florida Marlins of the National League in baseball.
Great look there. Craig Janoff, our director tonight, bringing you these wonderful pictures. Of course, Kenny Wolf producing, as usual. Super Bowl 20. I'm glad this game's at night. We just don't function very well during the day, do we?
We're not day creatures, no.
George Seifert, who I think when Deion Sanders came earlier in the year, the character of this team turned around, and he had a long meeting with Deion Sanders, and that didn't go all that well, as expressed by Deion Sanders, but he has become quite a fan of Sanders. Sanders is as hard a working football player as you would ever want. He works about as hard as he does putting on his show for you, and one of the most gifted athletes I've ever watched. Certainly, I think maybe the fastest man in this game today.
And becoming the first man ever to appear in a World Series, and he played extremely well for Atlanta against Toronto a couple of years back in a Super Bowl. 3rd and 3 now after the timeout. And the Chargers blitz, but Young gets it off to Ricky Waters for the touchdown.
Well,
A tell you, the Chargers don't blitz much. They blitzed on the Jerry Rice touchdown at the very beginning of the game. They blitzed there. I mean, Steve Young with the perfect read.
I don't blame them for blitzing. We talked earlier, Bill Arnsparger can't just sit back. That is just perfect execution. Ricky Watters is what they call the hot receiver. The linebacker blitzes to his side. The man who's supposed to cover him is clear back in the end zone. Griggs comes up, but Steve Young gets it past David Griggs, right to Ricky Watters. It's just perfectly executed by the 49ers. That is why they are the best team in football.
And maybe the best offensively that has ever been in football.
There are more than just a few coaches around the NFL that think this is the finest offensive machine that's ever been assembled.
Doug Bryan boots it through. Testimony to the fact best offensive team ever, perhaps. Doug Bryan, the kicker, has not made anything remotely resembling a critical kick all season, or a pressure-packed kick, because they've been blowing out teams week after week after week.
That is a play that is just not that easily executed, and Young, Watters, and the rest of the members of the San Francisco offense make it look like all they're doing is playing pitch and catch in a park on a Saturday afternoon.
And of course the job,
what do you say,
is in the hands of Bill Arnsparger, and this kind of tells it all. I mean, how do you stop all the weapons that the 49ers can present? You don't.
Well, he's not alone. Every defensive coordinator in the league has faced the problems this year. And I guess when you look back at this regular season, the weirdest score of any regular season game had to be Philadelphia 40, San Francisco 8. You think back now and you say, how in the world did that happen?
Yeah, they were 3-2 at that point, and there were people calling for George Seifert's job, right? You can believe that as you look back to that period of time.
He was funny. Somebody asked him about a poll. It's one of those goofball polls, and something like 85% of the respondents said fire him. And they asked him about it this week, and George said, I want to thank the 15% that voted for me.
Then the next week they go into Detroit. They're trailing 14-0, and that's when you talk to the 49ers, that's when they feel they turned the season around. Steve Young beaten up, crawling off the field, and they came back to win that game 27-21, and they've been, well, they just kind of almost gave one again to Minnesota in the final game of the season.
Ryan sends it down to Andre Coleman. Brings it back out to the 25-yard line. He's tackled there by McCaffrey with 4 minutes and 34 seconds remaining in the first half. Steve Young at the age of 33, at the very, very top of his game, 4 touchdown passes and a half, tying a Super Bowl mark. Doug Williams of the Redskins in a game in 1988 following the 87 season.
We got to see them both.
We did, yep. And you know, the amazing thing about that game is that was the biggest come-from-behind effort in Super Bowl history. Denver actually led 10-0,
right,
and Washington won the game 42-10.
And incredibly, Timmy Smith, the running back of the Redskins, was the most valuable player in that game.
Right, and Ricky Sanders had an unbelievable day as Natron Means runs into a gang. Tim McDonald and others leading the charge.
Well, there's something that happens to a football game late in the season, a playoff game, when you're down by this big a score. Emotionally, it happens on both sides of the ball. You can't hardly avoid this kind of a feeling. That's Junior Seau. He knows, I think, this game is pretty much gone. And on the other side of the ball, the 49ers, you can just see them. They're bouncing all over the field, and they're going to attack.
Well, they better get a first down, or Steve Young's going to have a shot at 5 touchdown passes and a half.
Second down and 8 from the 27-yard line. And the catch is made by Say, and Mark Say takes it out to the 45-yard line.
I want to correct myself. I misspoke when I said that Timmy Smith was the MVP. Timmy Smith had what, 205, 204,
204, I believe.
204, but Doug Williams was the most valuable player. For those of you keeping track of the trophies at home, I want to correct myself. That was Timmy Smith's moment in the sun, though. He
switchboarded, really lighted up, Dan.
So, no, I don't think it got to that point yet.
Well, Doug had called.
One fleeting moment in the sun. He was a Bobby Beathard find. They give it to Means, and on the reverse, Shawn Jefferson into San Francisco territory, and he takes it to the 46. Merton Hanks makes the tackle. we can be accused of hyping it in this particular instance, 28-7. I mean, they lead by 21 to the Niners, but of all the teams in the league that have shown the propensity and ability to come back, as we mentioned at the very top, it's the team in charge of those fellas running it. Bobby Ross as well. They came from 18 back on opening night against Denver, 15 against Miami, 10 against Pittsburgh 2 weeks ago. Well, who knows? From the 46, middle screen, Eric Bieniemy handles the ball for the first time in the game, and he's off to the races. And Eric Bieniemy is out of bounds inside the 15 at the 13-yard line.
Well, how quickly we have gone from talking about Steve Young and the possibilities of a 5th touchdown pass to now we're looking at the Chargers possibly getting some points.
The enemy on picking up a little blitz and then releasing to the outside, getting a good block and taking you down the sidelines. Let's take a look at it. Stan Humphries looking downfield. There's Bieniemy. That was a screen pass, as a matter of fact. A 2-man screen. He gets the block right there. And points out another block and gets the first down.
It's perfectly done by Bieniemy when he popped Ricky Jackson.
First down. Humphries buys time. Fabulous protection. Guns it, and it's broken up. Intended for Tony Martin. And Eric Davis, the only man in the Niners secondary not going to the Pro Bowl next week, who's had a fabulous postseason. His interception and touchdown run back set the tone in the Dallas game. He created a fumble, breaks it up.
And he had a great season also, Al. He had a terrific, fabulous season, postseason. But watch this. This is good coverage. He reads the eyes, moves back into it, and is right there for the play on Tony Martin.
2-minute warning.
Gillette introduces the next revolution in shaving closeness. Microfins. And they're only on the new Sensor XL. These microfins precede the blades. As Sensor XL's spring-mounted blades adjust to your face, these soft, flexible fins gently stretch your skin so your beard stands up for the closest, most comfortable shave. Get closer than ever before. Get the new Gillette Sensor XL.
Welcome back to Joe Robbie Stadium. The San Diego Chargers down 28-7, but looking to get back into it. Marv Levy, 2nd down and 10 on the 13-yard line. What do you expect?
Basically, the situation calls for a pass, Gary, but I think you're going to see an open formation that looks like pass, maybe a counter run, pulling their left guard, left tackle. They've had some success with that play.
All right, look out for Natron Means then. Back to the action.
Let's take one more look at that last play, the attempted pass to Tony Martin. Tony Martin, this ball could have been caught. Davis, I can't tell if he touches it or not, but that ball bounces off both hands and the chest of Tony Martin. It did not look to me like Eric Davis touched it. That could have been a San Diego touchdown.
2nd and 10. Humphries throwing, and Martin cannot come up with it. Had position. Merton Hanks was trailing him, but it's incomplete.
It would have been a great catch, but it was catchable, and that's 2 that appeared, even though difficult, certainly were catchable from the arm of Stan Humphries. Hanks back on the defense. He's beaten to the outside, right off the fingertips, and again, it would have been a great catch. The one that could have been caught when you're down by this many points should have been caught.
You can't beat the 49ers without making some big plays, and those were 2 big plays that weren't made.
3rd and 10, and the pass is a little high, intended for Alfred Papunu, who scored the huge touchdown against Pittsburgh, and that's incomplete. Tim McDonald with the coverage. So they go from 1st and 10 to 4th and 10, and John Carney comes in to try to kick a field goal.
And really, those were some pretty good throws by Stan Humphries that come up with nothing. That last one was just a good play by Tim McDonald. But those first 2 passes, one of them could have been a touchdown for San Diego. When you're a big underdog and you are playing somebody as good as the 49ers, you got to make big plays.
31-yard attempt for Carney out of Gail Gilbert's hold, and that is good. So they do come up with 3. The Charger cannon goes off. 1:44 remaining in the first half, and it is now 28-10 San Francisco.
Say again, another look. One that most certainly could have been caught. I think Mark Say would tell you, yeah, I should have caught the ball. Problem now, they have left the 49ers a lot of time on the clock.
$1:44.
They can go. They could go to Tampa in a minute and 44 seconds.
Tuesday night, a brand new show comes to ABC. Joe Robbie Stadium on this late January Sunday evening at about 20 of 8. Temperature today up in the 70s. We had a little bit of moisture, but nothing serious.
Each club has 2 timeouts remaining, so the 49ers will see what kind of yardage they get here. Deion Sanders is going back along with Dexter Carter back to the goal line for the 49ers. So you're going to see a little electricity if number 21 grabs
Where do you think Carney's going to try to place this?
Well, he's going to try to place it towards the direction of Dexter Carter. Let's see if he can do it.
1:44 left in the half, and he does go Carter's way. Carter makes the catch at the 12-yard line, brings it out to the 23-yard line, where he's tackled by Eric Bieniemy. Well, the 49ers tonight came out roaring, scoring on their first 3 possessions. Then Jerry Rice was back in the locker room, and they were 3 and out with a punt. Rice came back in, not that he was necessarily that instrumental on the drive, but back they went again into the end zone. 4 touchdown passes for Steve Young, and 28-10 with still a ton of time remaining. 1:38.
Deion right at the point of the wedge on that kickoff return by his teammate Dexter Carter.
He was looking like he thought Dexter was going to run a reverse. He was so far out.
From the 23-yard line, Young for Jones, and he makes the catch. And he's a tight end who not only goes over the middle and underneath, but deep down the side,
And he gets out of bounds.
It's really, sometimes you wonder if it's fair. You split Brent Jones out all the way. He's a tight end. Ricky Waters is flanked out the other direction. You've got tight ends. Look at him. That's where the split end or the flanker should be all the way.
Well, look who's got on him, though, Don.
Yeah.
They're trying to cover him with David Griggs, the linebacker. Now, that's ludicrous.
But it's the formation that sent the Chargers haywire, because you got Jerry Rice to the inside and Jones to the outside.
Year after year, they give you more looks than any team in the league. Floyd makes the catch. It started with Bill Walsh. There's no question about that. They have really just kept the system in place every year since 1979.
That's just a brilliant move on the part of Mike Shanahan. He knows that they're going to have linebacker coverage on Jones, so isolate him. That's good stuff.
1:10 remaining in the half, and Rice makes the catch and steps out of bounds, making sure he had the first down. There is Mike Shanahan. I'll tell you this, he is number 1 on Denver's list. He is probably number 1 on Philadelphia's list. And if he showed any interest in the L.A., St. Louis, or wherever Rams, he'd be number 1 on their list.
You his agent?
Are you trying to?
I'm just telling
You're making some deal for him.
telling you what
and you are
the
so
deal
right.
is.
There's no question about it. He is the hot item right now in coaching.
Are you trying to say he's in a very enviable position?
I'd like to be his agent. Second down, and first and 10 is Ricky Waters. Takes the ball down to the 29-yard line.
I know one thing, though. If Mike Shanahan becomes a head coach, it's a return to the real world.
Reality.
When you're the offensive coordinator for the 49ers, welcome back to reality when you have to go coach somebody else.
He's already been a head coach for the Raiders. Second down and 6, and the pass is incomplete, intended for Ricky Waters.
I'm not sure that's reality.
Yes. And while we're on the subject of Shanahan, the 49ers have said there is no question they want to keep him. And Carmen Policy said last night, he said, we're going to do everything we can to keep him with us.
Look at that. 9 yards per play, 305 yards in the first half alone, and they still have the football. Whoa.
3rd down and 6 at the 29-yard line. 41 ticks left. Rice in motion. The fake to Waters. And then Young throws incomplete. Intended for Brent Jones a little high.
Oh, that was poorly thrown by Steve Young. He jumped up in the air after he threw the ball. Jones would have been able to take it probably inside the 20 and improve the field goal range. Oh, he picked up a first down, as a matter of fact.
The field is starting to get a little wet from the rain. You saw Jerry Rice go in motion, and he fell flat on his face, and he was slow to get up. I'm not sure if he stretched himself, but it's you got to watch this. This field is getting a little bit slick with the rain.
You saw Young there. Had he been able to get that ball, and he should have, to Brent Jones, it would have been a first down.
47-yard field goal attempt. Timeout call by the Niners with 36 seconds. Brian's longest this year, 48.
He hasn't had to kick that much, Al. He had, what, 20 attempts for the year?
We mentioned before there have been a lack of dramatic games for the Niners this year. They lost a close game to Kansas City. They were routed by Philadelphia, and the only other game they lost was that meaningless Monday night game at the end of the season when everything was already clinched to Minnesota. And in all of their victories, they've blown the opponents away.
Minnesota game where most of the key personnel, and particularly Steve Young, after he was sacked a couple of times, they had him out of there.
Well, and also remember, early on in the season, everybody involved with the 49ers will tell you that defensively they just did not gel. You know, that's where the free agency market was really trying to find its way. It's just not that easy to become a team just during the span of a couple of mini camps and training camp. And Ken Norton and Ricky Jackson that you're looking at right there, and Gary Plummer, these people were, you got a couple of rookies and Woodall and Young. They just had not found their way, and Ray Rhodes said this was not a really good defensive team until the second half of that Detroit game that you talked about earlier, Frank.
Ryan, a 47-yard field goal attempt. Wilmsmeyer puts it down, and the kick is short
And bad.
and wide. No good. An errant.
Well, again, there's a guy we talked earlier. He hasn't had a lot of really pressure-packed kicks, and I'm not sure that a 28-10 attempted field goal is pressure-packed. But this one was missed badly. Ooh, the laces are not where you normally expect to see them, Frank.
No, I don't know whether some kickers don't like that. Others doesn't bother them, and O'Brien,
he knew
it must bother him.
Yeah, that's where you poke your drive right into the woods on the right side of the fairway, and you know it the minute you strike it.
Well, let's see if the Chargers, with 30 seconds and 2 timeouts, can work their way into field goal range as Humphries throws. The catch is made. It's a 9-yard pickup to the 46-yard line. Sean Jefferson, the receiver, and timeout is called. That took 6 ticks off the clock. 24 seconds remain.
If they're thinking 6, their kicker John Carney, his best for the season was 50 yards. He made that a couple of times. He's right on the edge of 50.
Now, does that leave San Diego with 1 left?
1 timeout remaining. Yeah. John Carney, one of the very best. He holds the record for most consecutive field goals, 29, from 1992 through the beginning of 93. That marks in jeopardy, though, when next season begins. Fuad Reveiz of Minnesota begins the year with 28 in a row. So Carney hopeful of getting in. Well, he's hopeful of getting in for an extra point is what he's hopeful of right now. At least for 3.
Ricky Jackson asking Jerry Markbright if he'd heard about how big a bonus he got when they won the NFC Championship game.
800 grand.
800 and change. It was somewhere around 850 something.
Good crew here tonight, Jerry Markbright. This is his 4th Super Bowl. Guy's doing a great job.
Ricky Jackson, the oldest guy in the game, will be 37 in a couple of months.
We saw him make that good play earlier in the second quarter where he chased it down from behind, showing a good burst.
2nd and 1. And Humphries throws. Harmon cannot hold on at the 49-yard line, and 19 seconds remain. Tyrone Drakeford with the coverage.
That ball came out of there really wobbly.
Strange.
It almost looked like somebody touched that at the line of scrimmage.
He got a finger on that, I think.
Ricky Jackson was in the vicinity.
Take a peek.
Let's take a good look at it. There's Ricky Jackson, 57.
Yep.
He did get his hand on it. We have seen punts deflected to keep on going, passes deflected to keep on going.
3rd and 1.
I don't know that that means anything. We've just seen it. Whoa!
Freeze from Martin, and he's out in front, and is broken up at the goal line. Eric Davis. Staying right with him as Humphreys unloads, but the ball hung, and Eric was able to get back and break it up.
That's unusual, and such a strong arm on the part of Humphreys.
Are they ruling that he caught that? Are they saying
it to him, I think.
Yeah, they made.
If you have possession when you go into the end zone.
Well, look, they're going to say this is an interception.
Boy, look at how he closed it down on Martin. Martin is thinking 6 right here. Here comes Eric Davis. He tucks it away. If he has possession when he hits
the ball was intercepted in the end zone for a touchback.
Well, the ball was on the far side of Eric Davis. He hit the ground and it came out, and they give him credit for the interception and the touchback. 49er ball at 20.
It would be just as though you went into the end zone as a leaping running back landing in the end zone. The knee is down, and when he hits, the ball comes out.
Well, I always thought that an interception was the same as a reception. That when
he's got it away.
But you've got to demonstrate control of the football. It means precious little at this point in time. Eric Davis gets the interception, and the 49ers lead by 18.
Means a lot to Eric Davis.
Yeah, it sure does.
Davis is 4th in postseason, so a frustrating half for Martin and the Chargers as they leave the field with San Francisco leading San Diego at the half. 49ers 28, Chargers 10. Our halftime show coming up after this message and a word